got to get spine moving better, scapula moving better, get extension and internal rotation, flexion and external rotation. Think of a paddle stroke. How much shoulder range of motion? Move better, right? Apply this stuff. Shoulders and spine. We're going to get them moving better. Chris Mills was surf strength coach. I just did a seminar in New York, and one thing we went over was shoulder health, but your spinal mobility and how that's related to your shoulders. And so I'm going to run you through some things that you can apply to make sure all this is moving good, right? So I had them do a self-assessment, and some of this stuff's pulled from Gray Cook, physical therapist, wrote a book called Movement, good stuff. So if you make a fist around your thumbs, you just reach up and back, place. So there's no walking, it's not going into pain. Boom, right there. I'm pretty symmetrical, meaning not here on one side, here on the other. Looking for that space between the hands. They don't need to touch, we just need to be aware of where those hands are. So maybe get your boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, take a picture. If there's a big difference left to right, that's something you want to work on, because what it's showing is, do you have full external rotation and flexion on this arm, and full extension internal rotation, right? Here, here. So don't force it. So we want to kind of make sure things are symmetrical so that things can move well. And one thing we need to start doing to influence the shoulders is make sure the spine's moving properly. So I showed them a rib roll. Lower body at 90-degree bend, okay? We do this with breath. Top arm reaches and grabs my rib cage on the bottom. I take a big breath in, preferably my head's supported on something. Breathe in and exhale. As I exhale, I think of pulling my rib cage further over. Again, repeat. Breathe in, exhale, and I've increased some range of motion. Repeat on the other side. I'm tighter going this way. So anywhere from 5 to 8 breaths per side. See if you are different left to right. And then you can retest this reaching. All it's showing is that if improving your breathing and the way your thoracic spine moves, if that influences the shoulders, right, and gives them more range of motion. Most people need to work on thoracic mobility of some sort, so incorporate this in your training, your warm-up, really. Rib rolls are a method, like yoga, what is it, like thread the needle kind of thing. Anything that gets you moving more efficiently through the ribs and the thoracic spine. You can also do some tennis ball mobilization. So take tennis ball, where we're working on getting that thoracic spine moving a bit better. I just got a couple pops out of it. Up and down that thoracic spine. You can go single tennis ball or just on one side of the spine. Working on those ribs and kind of getting into those facet joints a little. Bringing some arm movement. And again, what we're trying to do is get the ribs and spine moving a bit better to influence the way the scapula moves, because the scapula is part of the shoulder joint. So rib rolls, some type of thoracic mobilization, retest. See if there's any change, right? Again, the intention isn't to necessarily touch. The intention is to improve symmetry from left to right. Make sure they're moving well. You can also go through tennis ball release work through the lats, through the teres major, through the shoulder, even through the neck. If you need more insight with that, check out stretchesforsurfers.com. I go through all these thoracic mobilizations, breathing drills, all the tennis ball stuff. So you've increased the way the spine can move. Huge influence on the shoulders. The thing you'll also see is that people don't know how to move their shoulder blades on the ribs. So what's that mean? Most people, if you ask them to push further, they'll just round the spine, right? And so they don't know how to differentiate shoulder blade. So that's just me moving my scapula on my rib versus spine. Their shoulders are glued to their spine. So you can start without moving the spine, good neutral head position, moving the scapula back and forth on the ribs. We take it in the crawling position. Notice my spine's not moving. I'm not doing a cow. All I'm doing, moving the shoulder blades on the ribs. Retraction and protraction. You need to get that movement back, especially if you've got some shoulder funk. And then you can start going through 360-degree, making sure those shoulders are moving well so that we can start going into good controlled crawling patterns and eventually start getting into big thoracic bridges. We're working on dynamic shoulder control. We start coming into kind of downward dog positions where you're really getting the scapulas moving on the ribs, controlling the shoulder joint. So, if you've got some shoulder funk, see where your range is, don't go into pain, work on some rotation, work on some breath, work on thoracic mobilizations, tissue release, getting the shoulder blades moving. Incorporate this stuff into your warm-up or your shoulder self-care. If you have more questions or need insight, get in touch. Also check out stretchesforsurfers.com. Follow Surf Strength Coach on Facebook. Give me a like on YouTube. And apply this stuff. If you have some particular shoulder things, flick me an email. We'll see what we can work on. But